Aaron Silverstein works with Democrats Work. That's democratswork.org. And John Erhardt is the field coordinator for Living Liberally and Drinking Liberally. Guys, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me here, Wade. Thanks.
All right. We're going to have Bobby Clark coming on from Progress Now, and he's actually coordinating the Bloggers Big Ten event during the convention week. And people might say, well, you know, why is it a big deal? Daily Coves gets more viewership per day than many of the national many of the regional newspapers, a lot of the magazines, a lot of, you know, it's got a widespread appeal, and it's gone from being, you know, a small fan blog or a talking Politico blog to actually impacting what is going to happen in policy, where, you know, instead of a disaffected small group of people who are upset about things, you know, actually this brings up voices and brings people out to editorialize themselves and say, hey, I have a voice, I want to get involved with my democracy. And it's really changed the way democracy works across the country, and evidenced by, you know, they had a huge convention back in Austin, Texas. What was it, 2 weeks ago now?
I think so.
That was called the Netroots Nation, used to be called Yearly Coast. What was that like? I mean, seeing people from all over coming together to talk about the issues and the upcoming election.
It's for us, it's kind of like a homecoming. The best part of it is the chance to network with people and increase those connections, strengthen those ties, so that we can continue to do the job, to continue to do a better and better job of what we do.
And I want to give Aaron a chance to, you were there as well. Did you see anything particularly interesting at Netroots Nation?
Oh, well, there was a lot of the great elected officials and party leaders came and spoke to us. So we had Nancy Pelosi come by. We had Howard Dean come by, but we also had Al Gore made a surprise appearance. It's wonderful, though, to be able to get up that close to a lot of people who are crafting policy, a lot of people with a very strong voice, and they're listening as well as speaking to us. So it's great to be able to...
It's gone from, you know, an insider's game to now it's a community. It's actually the way it was meant to be when the foundation of the country was laid. And, you know, I've listened to what Tom Hartman was talking about when this country came into existence. There were, you know, thousands of small newspapers. Every town had their own press, their own newspaper. So that in turn created hundreds and hundreds of reporters, you know, across the country. And over time, you know, it merged down to where you have what we have across the country. Each state has basically one or two papers for each market. So you have a very small pool of reporters. This is a very inside game. But now with blogging and with the internet, we are back to the way it was during the revolution. We had thousands of dissenting voices. And
we have pamphleteers. The bloggers are often the modern pamphleteers.
Exactly.
Now, we also have some great voices that act in a style like traditional media would, just using the new tools to do some great traditional media. But we also have what the founders really intended under the First Amendment. When they were talking about the freedom of the press, they weren't picturing big news networks. Right. They were picturing individuals who happened to have a printing press and could get out their wide variety of opinions, and they didn't mind that it was opinion-driven. The idea was that the voices in interaction would be the check and balance upon one another, that you wouldn't have just a few gatekeepers, and that's what we have. And it's great seeing, even with things like Netroots Nation, that's bringing together the national gathering of these bloggers, there's also some great conventions of communities of interest. There's Blogging While Brown that's going on soon. There's Blog Her, spelled B-L-O-G-H-E-R, which is a convention of female bloggers that is going on right now as we speak. It actually is in the New York Times today. Unfortunately, they decided to put that in the style and fashion section, where it's rather insulting to put it there, but that's where the story resides. But that's a great convention of a community of interest that in the old days geographically was how you would align a newspaper. You would have people talking about what was important to Arkansas. And we certainly do that at Square State around Colorado politics, but also you have the opportunity to bring in a large net of people who might be minorities or minority voices in their communities, and you get a chance to aggregate those voices and talk about it matters that it.
I found out through you and through Daily Kos, a blogger named Dingray, I hope I'm pronouncing that right. Dinger. Had actually been researching this since day one, back in on the East Coast, and got in touch with us and was able to provide a wealth of information about just the untold numbers of scandals.
There's so many different levels to Bob Schaefer's corruption. Honestly, I'm not exaggerating here. After he left Congress, of course he's now running for Senate in Colorado, after he left Congress, he got a nice cushy job with a huge Colorado oil and gas company called Aspect Energy. And he was partially involved in negotiating a deal to do oil, and I think it's mainly gas, but anyway, oil and gas drilling in Kurdistan. And this was just recently. And this is the kind of thing where the State Department said, hey, guys, in general, it's not really a good idea for American companies to go muck that up, because it's the whole security situation is very tough, and maybe you should lay off.
Let me just tell you, for you listeners out there, Kurdistan is actually the unofficial territory in northern Iraq and parts of Turkey of a high density of Kurdish people who have been fighting for independence. But right now, the U.S. government is trying to keep Iraq a solid country, and by going up there and proposing an oil exploration, to the government of Kurdistan, it's like
kind of kicks sand in everybody's eyes.
That undermines the government of Iraq.
Exactly.
And our government, frankly.
Yes. Because it wasn't like it was a war for oil or anything.
Something that really excites me about the presidential election here isn't really even about the candidates, isn't about the personalities. It's about the number of people who are getting involved for the first time. The stuff that we do at Democrats Work, we care a lot about November, but what happens in December matters to us. What happens in January matters to us.
And the Senate race in 2010.
And the Senate race in 2010. But the whole electoral
Who's
side. We have. You're running in that?
No.
But what's really exciting to me is that regardless of which of the politicians wins, the people are winning, because we're having a turnout that's just amazing off the charts, and I love seeing people get active and involved. With Square State, we've set up the squarestate.net small donor committee. So on our site, you can donate no more than $50 a year, but then we can aggregate that.
We take that money. Any citizen can donate up to $50 a year. It's not just Coloradans. But then we take that money and we can give it out to candidates that we feel should continue to be able to represent the people. So the more we have people participating in this democracy, the representative democracy, the more our representatives who work for us are hopefully going to be accountable.
John, you were just talking about, you just got these new cards. I wanted you to
Sure.
about that.
So for those on video that can see that, obviously can't read that. This card has my name on it. Here's what it says. John Erhardt is hereby certified as a card-carrying liberal. Yep, there's no denying it. Our members are infused with liberal pride, connected to the liberal community, and enriched with liberal discounts. So we have a number of businesses here in Denver that if you go in with your liberal card and they'll have this sticker on their front window. For example, can I do some product placement?
Go ahead, Brett.
8 Rivers Restaurant, good friends of ours anyway. You go in there, and there are 2 locations, and you'll get either a free glass of sangria or a dirty mojito.
Hey, that's worth the price right there.
Yes, there's also national discounts as well. So, we're trying to help out the liberal supporting businesses, the liberal owned businesses, and at the same time, this is a way to help support our organization that traditionally has done little to no fundraising. So it's theliberalcard.org. You can go to the website again. That's theliberalcard.org, and you can sign up and pay with credit card or PayPal. And I actually just did it last week, and my card came in the mail finally Friday. The woman coordinating it was going to kick me in a not pleasant part if I didn't order mine soon.
And it may get you discounts on gas, but supporting the liberal values will get you discounts on gas instead of nonsense on oil shale.
No, that's true. Hey, we're going to take a quick break. This is Ultimate Politics here at 1510 a.m., and we'll be right back.